Hi guys, David and David here from payitforward.com and upphone.com, and in this video we're going to explain what to do when your iPhone is too dark.
First thing we want to do is turn up the brightness on your iPhone.
Yep.
The easiest way to do this, and the way that everybody should know about, is in Control Center. So if you have an iPhone 10 or newer, like David does, swipe down from the upper right-hand corner of the screen with your finger. If you have an iPhone 8 or older model, it's going to be swiping up from the bottom of the screen with your finger.
So we'll swipe down, and this little sun with the vertical slider, that is the brightness slider.
Yep,
you can just drag your finger and drag it all the way down. Oh, geez.
Oh, man.
That's really dark.
Yep. You can also check this in the Settings app, but I just wanted to show you how to do it there.
Yeah, this Control Center is the easier way to do it.
Yep.
For sure.
Up and down. Yep.
So you check the brightness. You already knew how to do that.
Yeah, you did. You're
so what's our next step? Next, we're going to check the white point settings on your iPhone. Basically, the white point settings are related to how intense the bright colors of your iPhone's display are. So
let's show them how to do it.
We'll go to Settings, scroll down and tap General, tap Accessibility, tap Display Accommodations, and as you can see, there's this Reduce. First of all, if that switch is on, you drag it all the way to the right.
It's really dark.
It's really dark. Drag
it
all the way to the left.
Yep.
It's pretty bright.
Pretty bright.
And you know, the default is 50%, I believe.
Yep. Let's just turn it off, though.
Turn it off? Yeah, you can also turn it off.
You should see a big difference. I use Reduce White Point all the time on my phone because I like to use my phone in bed at night. And even when I put the brightness all the way down on my phone, it's still way too bright for me to use, in bed. So I turn on Reduce White Point. I always have it about halfway between. And even when I'm outside, it's still bright enough. These phones are super bright. I think they should make them darker.
One other thing, unrelated note that I want to point out real quick is that Apple moved the auto brightness feature. They stuck it in display accommodations, accessibility settings. It used to be a lot easier to access, but now it's here if you ever,
Yeah, they didn't want people turning it off is what happened because auto brightness, if you have it on, will save battery life. And everybody, surprise, surprise, has bad iPhone batteries. So you can check out our video about iPhone batteries.
We sure can. Up in the card up above,
in the comment section.
So the next thing we recommend is going, back to the accessibility settings and checking if Zoom is turned on, because Zoom is pretty complicated to set up and there's a lot of different things you can do with it. But at the end of the day, if Zoom is turned on and set up in the wrong way, it can actually seriously lower the brightness of your iPhone screen. Link to an article up above in the card in the description down below, walking you through how Zoom is used and how it can be misused. So let's go all the way back to the main settings page and walk you through the whole process. Settings, General, Accessibility, and then Zoom. So I'll just turn Zoom on for the, so there you go. So you don't want that. Oh geez, how am I gonna turn it off? Okay, so if Zoom is on and your screen is super dark, turn Zoom off. And that might solve the problem right there.
Hopefully it does.
Hopefully it does.
Next step, we're gonna just hit the software with, a hammer, and we're gonna reset all settings because at a certain point we're like, okay, we don't know which setting it is that's screwing up the iPhone screen. So let's go back to accessibility and back to general.
Back to general.
Now that you're in general, you can scroll all the way to the bottom.
Reset.
To reset, and then reset all settings. This doesn't delete your personal data, but it does wipe out things like Wi-Fi passwords, Bluetooth devices. So you do have to hook a few things back up, but it's a lot easier than doing a restore, which is our next step, or going to the Apple Store. It'll save you a lot of time.
So DFU restore, deepest type of iPhone restore, takes all the code off, loads it back on. Factory default settings. We will link to a DFU walkthrough video in a card above in the description section below. If the DFU restore doesn't fix the problem, then it's probably a hardware issue. And it could be your display, some sort of backlight thing. Apple Store, it's a great choice. We also recommend a lot of third-party repair companies. We'll link to one of those in a card above in the description section below.
Can I get a word in, Dave?
Yeah, sure.
So the display, I didn't forget what I was going to say. The display has multiple parts. So there's the part that controls the touch, and there's the part that is the backlight and the screen. So people would come into the Apple Store with a screen that was super dark, but they could kind of see what was on it because their backlight had been burned out or something, and the rest of the phone was working. They could touch it, so they were like, "Why? How do I turn up the brightness?" But they incidentally had also dropped it in a pool or something.
Water damage.
And we're about to publish an awesome article on what to do if your iPhone gets water damaged. The best guide on the internet, hands down. So let's link to that.
We'll link to that as soon as it's published, for sure.
Description down below.
So that's what to do when your iPhone screen is dark. It's too dark, you can't use it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click the notifications bell to get an immediate update when we upload a new video.